Today, my guest is King Jellybean, and he also has his friend and vice president, Raven, the commentary. And I am so excited to be able to talk with both of them. I believe that they are embarking on an amazing journey. They are started a couple years ago a project called the Change Project, and I can't wait for you to learn a little bit more about it and hopefully even someday have a testimony on your own about how they were able to help you. Let me bring my guest on.
Hello, everyone. As you know, I am King Jellybean, and I do own the organization, The Change Project.
Buen dia, amigos. I am Raven the Commentator 2001, aka Raven Pines, and I am the Vice President of the Change Project. I have, as many of you may know, I have been involved in the Change Project since 2017, when the project has initially took off. And I have been like second vice president for the second year, and now, as of this year, I am the vice president of this organization.
That's wonderful. So I just recently learned about the new beginnings of the Change Project. I remember meeting the two of you last year when you started promoting this, and I want to say how inspired I was to know of these young individuals that are starting such a huge thing. I mean, even to be able to make a difference in this world is important, but when we have youth such as yourselves that really want to make a difference, I applaud you. Tell me what exactly brought you to want to do this.
Well, it started when I was really young. When I was young, I went through a lot with my parents when it came to drug abuse and neglect and stuff. It was just a really bad time in my young life. And ever since I was, 6, I believe, I started thinking about what do I want to do when I grow up, as any young person would think, what do I want to be? And I started thinking about, I want to change the world. I want to make the world better. And so over those years, eventually I got out of that and got a better family and everything. I started planning on starting something maybe one day in the future on something that would help change the world. And so I sat down and thought as a very, very young person, young age. And then eventually here we are around 2015, 2016. I really wanted to start an organization about something. And then around 2017, I really started opening and really working on things and just wanting to make a change in the world.
Well, first of all, let me tell you how sorry I am to hear that you lived a life of abuse when you were so young.
Yes.
At what age were you able to find a new family? So you were being abused young, and then were you put into some kind of foster care, or what? Can you ad-lib a little bit and tell me more about that?
I was never put into foster care. I mean, I was put into the system of foster care. They did, on the day that they were going to put me in foster care, as in a temporary home, which would have been at the shelter that they had at the time. I was probably, I'm trying to think, maybe 7, I believe. And on that day, my Nana actually came by and saw the police sitting standing around the apartment building and everything. And then she just happened to stop. And then that's how she was able to fight for custody. If she hadn't been there, then I probably would most likely not be here today, actually.
Oh, wow. That's amazing. So you are living with your Nana now?
Yes.
I understand. Raven, what made you want to be a part of this change project?
Well, it all started when I was in one of Emmanuel Goffey's streams, and when I was in one of those Hangouts calls, and then I heard that King Jellybean was starting an organization called the Change Project. So when I heard about this, I thought, hey, I'm a part of something that can help change the world, and I want to be able to change the world myself. And so I decided to join in, and I've been helping a lot with the project ever since. I've been a key member, and since then I've been inspired to support all the big um, things that the Change Project talks about and Will talked about, such as, like gun violence and suicide prevention and bullying prevention, no judging, positivity, all that stuff. And I've also supported causes like autism acceptance, disability rights, and even more recently, rights for LGBTQ youth and adults.
There's it's amazing to me at how young you guys are, and I'm sorry that you've experienced things in your young life that make you realize change needs to happen. But I want to be able to help you promote this. What exactly can you guys do, being that you're not professional counselors, you're not, going to be taken serious because you're still youth. So what do you think can happen? Like what are your plans to get maybe more professionals involved?
Yeah. When it comes to getting more professional stuff involved and getting, showing people that we are more professional when it comes to what we know and what we do, I have teamed up with my school as well as my church that my other side of the family goes to, and I have talked to them about it. In fact, that I have a club at my school that runs the Change Project Real World, that is a separate little place. And I used to have people who were in the Change Project who were guidance counselors, actually, and people who had degrees. And that was a big step for us a couple of years ago, around 2018, Christmas time around that year. And we had those people in our chats, and it was great because that was a huge stepping stone into the world of, here's what we're going to do for you when
Yeah.
it comes to being professional, being able to help people more, being able to talk a lot more and bring up a lot more stuff. And that has recently changed due to, us restarting, but we are hoping by the end of 2020, we have all that back behind us and stuff.
So how are you guys going to get the word out that you are a source that is available for people that need the Change Project?
What we usually do is we take a topic, for example, if it's suicide, suicide rates in the world, we go over statistics, we go over reasons why people do things, how it is becoming such a bad problem, how worse has it been, stuff like that, all the information about something. Then, if someone were to come up on the stream, which we have had, for example, whenever we did have a suicide stream one time, we had people coming up telling their stories of when they did go through that kind of stuff. And that gives people examples. It goes into showing people that there are other people who go through the same stuff. And that's a big thing that we focus on, is letting people know that they're not alone. People in the Change Project, some of the key members who have stand up for the exact thing that people need help with. Stand up and went through the same exact stuff. And that's what we want people to know when it comes to us promoting and when it comes to us going into our first ever live streams and our first ever topics and stuff, is letting people know that they're not alone, and this is one place where you don't have to be alone and you can ask for help, and we will help you no matter what.
Is there something out there where you provided your own personal testimony, or is that something that you would want to do with me today, or what do you think about that? So that people know that they are not alone, and that you've also, as president of the Change Project, understands because you've gone through something.
I have made personal videos on the Change Project as well as my primary channels that I have, letting people know my story, letting people know that look at me today, someone who went through some horrible things as a child and someone who has went through depression and went through stuff like that. Here I am leading a world organization to help people. That is a big thing that inspires people. It inspires people to think, I can get out of my situation. And I have thought about, again, this year, taking a stream and just digging into just a story time between not just me, but other people. Me and Raven, or me and Easton, or me and anyone who would want to come up and share a story and share something to let people know that they're not alone, to inspire people to become better, to show people that you can get out of your situation, and whatever we can do to help somebody is what we really focus on.
Yeah, I do think that personal testimonies are going to be very beneficial for other people to realize that, hey, they do understand. They've been through what I've been through.
Exactly.
Exactly. Yeah. So, I am an autistic person myself, and there are like some people like on the Change Project who have other mental disabilities such as like ADHD, and we have a person on the group who has dyslexia. And one of the biggest things about the Change Project is the diversity of all the people in the group. We have people. We might have people of different races. We might have people of different sexual orientations, religions, disabilities, or whatever person they are. They can come in and they can talk about like they can come together and they can help talk about how we can uh, change the world or how we can change things for the better. And this has helped me realize that hey, I can tell people that you're not alone and that you are worth every ounce of compassion, no matter who you are or what you've done. Yeah, well, they could be struggling with socializations, or they might have trouble with, fitting in because they think that a lot of people think that they fear that they are being broken, or they're just being, you know, diseased, or they're being, burdens of society when really they're not. They they're just like us. They're like other people. Their brains are just functioning differently.
Gotcha. Now, do you live alone, Raven? You're in college, correct?
Yes, I am currently in community college, but I do not live alone. I live with my parents and my two sisters, who are also on the autism spectrum. I'm high functioning. My youngest sister, she is developmentally, she is like a few years behind me because I am an adult according to federal law, and she is my youngest sister. She is a teenager, an early teenager at that. We're not all on the same level though. We're all at different levels of autism. Just I like me. I'm on the high function again. Kaylee, she's nonverbal. Like she
Right.
can't like I said, she can't communicate with words.
Well, I know even for myself as a mom with multiple children, I have four. It's difficult the more children you have, but to have three with special needs, I'm sure your parents, I commend them.
Yeah.
Are you there, King Jelly Bean?
Oh yes, sorry, I'm here. I'm here.
Yeah, I just recently learned that you had several losses this past year, so I'm sorry to hear that you've had to experience that as well.
Yes, I did. I lost my uncle, which is not really, he's not really my uncle, but we always call him my uncle, due to suicide. And then the day before that, I lost one of my best friends in a car crash. And then a week later, I lost my aunt to a heart attack. And then about a month after that, I lost another best friend to another car crash.
I can't imagine that at your age, having to go through so much. I mean, no wonder that you want to make a difference in this world. Being a young child of abuse, having to experience a loved one who committed suicide, to experiencing the grief of a grandparent. I mean, that's way too much for anyone to handle, but for you to have to handle in such a short amount of time at such a young part in your life. You're 16, correct?
Yes, I am. Yes, I am 16.
I think that you've already lived more of a tough life than many people have at 16 that have at 80 years old. So I commend you for remaining positive. How do you do it? How do you stay so positive? Do you have a professional counselor that you get to talk to often? I mean, how do you deal with all of this? That's so much at your age.
Well, what I do is I just sit down and I think. I write music, poetry, I write musicals, Broadway musicals, plays. I do a lot of stuff. And what I do is, I have friends that I talk to, and then I have the Change Project, the one place that I knew that I started for this exact reason. When people get down, when stuff happens, when people need help, for me, I keep my emotions in. I usually bury them away, which is not a good thing. Don't take my word for that. Do not do that. It is the worst thing you can do to yourself. But I do it, so I'm working on it. But no, I do not have a therapist. I did when I was little because of some stuff that also happened. But it was right after I moved in with my nana, and it wasn't due to the abuse that I went through. There was some other things that happened, and I did have a counselor, but she was horrible. Sorry. She didn't really work with anything, so that didn't help. Um, but mainly, it's just, remembering that there is one day that everything will be okay. Remembering that it will all be okay if you pray, or, if you don't believe in God and stuff, if you just write your feelings down, or if you just try to think of tomorrow. I could have let it eat me away. I could have gone to a path of, even suicide. That I could have let that happen to me, but I didn't, because I thought about, what's going to happen if that does happen. What would happen to tomorrow? So that's something that I really focus on, is tomorrow. What's tomorrow going to bring? Tomorrow could be the best day of my life, or am I going to sit here and gloom about it? Because it's okay to be sad, and it's okay to gloom about stuff, but you just have to think about, and what I do is just think about tomorrow. Think about, it's going to be okay. And you just got to move on. You can't bring people back who are lost. I can't bring back my childhood, but I can continue on and make tomorrow better than that. So that's what I do.
Wow. I'm amazed. I'm really glad that you're able to cope in such a strong way. Something inside you is there to help others.
Yep,
Yes.
it's true, especially like for the both of us. And there is a quote from the Powerpuff Girls movie that has been stuck in my mind ever since, and that was when Professor Utonium he takes the girls to bed, and they talk about like why are people making fun of us, or why are people calling us bug-eyed or whatever. And there was this one thing, and he says, and he tells them this: unfortunately, people often get scared or angry when they don't understand something special and unique. And that's one of those quotes that stuck with me ever since. And it really still is true. A lot of people at times. There's a book that I read back in the 7th grade. It's called Wonder by R.J. Palacio. Fantastic book. Really recommend it. And it's about this kid named Augie, and he has facial differences, and that's what makes him a lot different from a lot of the kids in the school that he goes to, especially with a lot of the bullying that he has faced, like saying, oh my gosh, he's really ugly, when really he's just one of those special kids. And a lot of the kid characters, especially like the bully is, I think his name was like Julian. He doesn't really understand it. He doesn't really understand who Augie is, but until he's met a lot of other friends who at that camp, and he defends another kid, and there are other kids who were bullying him. They, like these 8th graders, they said, "Oh, that kid looks like Gollum," and then he pulls through, and he is very resilient, regardless of the bullying and regardless of the name calling. You know?
I love that movie. That's with Julia Roberts. She plays the mother, right?
Mhm.
Yeah, it's such a good movie. I've read that book aloud also as a teacher to a class, so it's a very good, inspiring story. Well, I have enjoyed getting to know you two a little bit better and listening to some of your own testimonies, and I applaud you for being able to share that. Is there anything else that you guys want to share before we wrap up our Real Talk?
Well, I just want everyone to know that, if you do remember the old Change Project, don't forget that because we are the same. People I have seen where people, think that we're going to be different now, and we're not. We have the Help Center as well as two new departments opening up, and all we're here to do is just help people. And, as soon as our chats open up to the public, we will let you all know via Twitter or DM or whatever. So you guys can have a chance to, if you want to be a member or if you need help or anything like that, you can have that option.
What do you mean by departments opening up?
Okay, well, I have two new departments opening up this year. I have the Stand Up, Stand Out Choir and the Disability Chat, actually. Now, these two departments used to be not departments, but topics of the Change Project when it came to mental illnesses, mental disabilities, disabilities in general. And then when it came to, when Raven would get up on our streams and sing all the time, and when other people would do that as a choir, basically. So this year I have taken those ideas with the help of Easton, who owns the old Stand Up, Stand Out Choir, and the help of Jacob and Raven, who are on the autism spectrum and know what it's like to have a disability and stuff, to help me with those two. And I'm opening up two separate chats, parts of the Change Project. One where people write music about change, and they can be gospel, they can be mainly any type of music. Mostly Easton knows about that. He's working on that right now. That's going to be opening up later down the road, probably about a month. Whenever he gets back, he will be opening that department. And then we have the disability chat where people can go. It's kind of like the Help Center version. It's a version of the Help Center where you can go talk to other people with disabilities. You can get advice from people who suffer from disabilities. You can give advice, help others, just sit down and talk. So it's another way of a help center for people who don't want to use the Help Center, or they don't want to just be a part of the main Change Project. They want to be a part of something that really owns to them. So those are.
So when you say department, so I just want to make sure that I'm clear on this. So it's a YouTube. Is it only strictly for YouTube, or is this actual like a business that is established in a town or a company or something? Like when you say departments, do you mean like, so you're having a YouTube channel and they're going to have certain live streams with certain topics, so there'll be like series and different playlists? Is that what you mean?
That's one part of it, with different playlist for each one of those places. We're going to have separate Hangout chats, as well as in our Discord server. We will have those two chats opened, as well as those call-in chats for people who need to call in.
Okay, I'm a little familiar with Discord. So what we'll do is we'll make sure that all of the links to these different, I mean, you're saying departments, but I guess I'm thinking YouTube verbiage. So I'm trying to put it in a verbiage where, so there's going to be one source of a YouTube channel, correct? And then you'll be publicizing different streams and different series and topics, and then that people can get to those links from your Discord. Is that how I'm seeing it?
That is how it's going to work, unless Easton does decide to open up his own YouTube channel for Stand Up, Stand Out Choir. Like I said, I'm leaving him as manager of that department because I do a lot. I am already managing everything else. So I need his help with that because that is more of his style. But once I get more information about that, he will be back in about a week. So I will let everyone know all the information when it comes to how you're going to be able to get to the Stand Up, Stand Out Choir. Of course, the easiest way to get there would be through our Discord server. Well, those links will be available.
That sounds great. We will make sure that you get me those links. We will make sure that they are in the description. And this is being pre-recorded, but hopefully while we premiere this edited version of this, we have those in the chat who may be asking questions now, and we will be in the chat during that time as well. So we can drop links at that time as well if we need to.
Yes.
Okay, well, that sounds good. Thank you everyone who was here live during our premiere of this, and anyone who is watching this from the future, please make sure you check out those links and subscribe to the Change Project. Help in any way you can, and everyone can make a difference somehow, and it will just be a chain reaction from there.
Yep.
Well, thank you both for coming and providing time and letting me learn more about this.
Well, thanks for having us, Miss Kathy.
If you guys hold on for just a sec here, I'm going to end the broadcast and then we can wrap up privately off stream. Thank you, everyone.